right. We've got 35 seconds.
Gracias.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Friday, TGIF, the 12th of September, 2025. It's a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcome into the world headquarters of Civic Media, downtown Madison on State Street. Overcast a bit, but still I'll call it mostly sunny. It is a beautiful day, Zommers. You and I were out for just a little walk. Get a little coffee here before the show. Beautiful out there.
It is. And I chose to wear shorts again today, which is good because it's a little warm for me.
For you.
For most people, it's great.
For most people, it's a beautiful fall weather. Big show today for those watching on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the like. Got my Badger polo shirt on. Badgers in action tomorrow morning, actually. I think it was after. It's a morning game here in Madison. 11 o'clock kickoff. Badgers taking on, as Keith Jackson used to say, Alabama. It's a 9 a.m. kickoff show across many of our stations. 11 a.m. For the first kickoff there down in Tuscaloosa in Alabama. You can hear it at RCE in Richland Center, LAK in Amory, WFHR in Wisconsin Rapids, and WRPN in Ripon. In hour number 2, our great sports reporter, Mike Clemens, is going to be along here at 3:35. Going to review that great big Packer win. Packers 2-0 for like the first time in 5 years. Going to talk a little bit more. He was there, of course, Clemens, and preview the Badger game. Brewers are back in action this afternoon or this evening as well tonight. 6:35 for the pregame show tonight for the Crew. Just after 7 o'clock, the first pitch. Brewers hosting the always terrible. No, I'd make that up, of course, because the Cardinals beat the Brewers in the 82 World Series. St. Louis Cardinals are in town against the Crew. You can hear it in Richland Center, Oshkosh, and now in Hayward as well. So more on sports in hour number 2. We might get to some of that as well this hour. We got a What's Worse for You coming your way in hour number 2. Very good, by the way. Busy weekend or lazy weekend. So we'll be talking about that. And we got Free Ticket Friday. Brewer tickets. I'm going to give you the magic word straight ahead as well. But first, on a Friday, I think it's the first time on a Friday, it is time to get into your time machines, your vehicles of political expediency. Have a beverage and enter the recombobulation area.
There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man.
Milwaukee's best.
It's a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity.
Hey man, what about Milwaukee, man?
It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition.
I think God would want us to go to Milwaukee.
And it lies between the pit of a man's fears and the summit of his knowledge.
What do you think about Milwaukee?
This is the dimension of imagination. You are now entering the recombobulation area.
I mean, we need a recombobulation area.
Everybody needs a recombobulation area. Coming up on 10 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock, that music means one thing. With Civic Media's political editor and the founder of the aforementioned recombobulation area, Dan Schaefer, and he's in studio here at the World Headquarters. Dan, always great to have you here in person.
Todd Allbaugh, wonderful to join you here in Madison. Always love that introduction that we have from Zommers here. It's there is no introduction for anyone quite like that one that we have here for when I join
very
the show.
own introduction.
That's right. That's right. I enjoy it so much. Well, great to be here with you.
You're up from Milwaukee?
Yeah, visiting for checking out Cap Times Idea Fest.
All right.
While we are here in Madison for today, Tim Walz is speaking at Cap Times Idea Fest tonight. J.B. Pritzker tomorrow. So be listening to what some Midwestern governors have to say.
Yeah, I mean, Zommers and I are going to be here as well tonight to help bring that. The kicks off at 6 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Across many of these stations on the Civic Media Radio Network. So looking forward to more coverage of Governor Tim Walz in Madison tonight and hearing that speech and others, right?
And others, yeah. And Tony Evers spoke the other night. We've got most of the Midwest here, most of the NFC North represented here, speaking at Cap Times Idea Fest. Can we maybe we should just talk sports today?
I would really love to, and we are actually this hour because you're here for the whole hour. That's fantastic.
That's right.
We will talk a little sports this hour, but Dan, no better time to have someone help us recombobulate on what's been just a tough week in many ways, a confusing week. And now there's kind of new layers today. I want to do a couple of things. Before this hour ends, I do want to touch on state news, number one. And thanks for your help in booking this. Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley was here earlier this week, and he has launched his campaign for governor. So I want to talk about his entry and what that means politically in the Democratic primary for governor. And I also want to get to the flooding assistance. Federal monies were approved by Donald Trump this week after letters from the entire delegation from the congressional delegation from Wisconsin. There are some concerns being raised by some flood victims in Milwaukee that is this going to be enough to help folks recover? So I want to talk a little bit about that and any other state news that you think is pertinent. But the big story today continues to be the aftermath of the assassination of conservative commentator and founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, out in Utah earlier. And this morning, and I watched the entire special report from Utah, Kash Patel, FBI Director, Bongino, his assistant, flew out there. But the real news was made by Governor Cox, the Utah governor, and his law enforcement that announced that a new suspect has under arrest, has now been charged with murder in Utah. And we're learning more and more about this 22-year-old in Utah who is alleged now of carrying out the attack. Thus far, they're saying alone. Nobody else is involved at this point. But I think it's good to talk through this, Dan, in calm tones and remind people this is still a fluid situation. We're going to share what we know at this hour. We're going to tell you where that came from. And then we're going to give, I hope, get your analysis as well, Dan, what this means for the political conversation moving forward.
Yeah, it's been a discombobulating week, has it not? I mean,
you can say that again.
Yeah, and I think the assassination was such an awful incident, and I think there's been so many emotions from so many people over the course of the week, and I'm obviously very glad that they have apprehended the shooter. That seemed to take a while, but I'm glad that they found a resolution there, and we're learning more about this. But it also feels like, we're in this 24-hour news environment. I feel like we've gone through a handful of news cycles in between the time of the actual shooting and knowing who the person is and what his motives might have been in the shooting. And I think, there have been some not great things that people have said in the wake of this. There have been some important and inspiring things that people have said to try to take down the temperature. And I think we should be lifting up those folks who have been, wanting to approach this in a calm and rational and measured way, where we are talking about, the incident itself, the larger political culture that has, ramped up. It led to an escalation of political violence that we've seen in this country in the past few years. And I think, we could get on here and talk about, oh, he said that and she said this and all of these different things that people have said that are causing, greater strife in this moment of crisis here. But I think we should lift up some of those who have been doing the right thing and saying that we need to come together. We need to take down the temperature. We need to have, human conversations about this. And we published a piece at the Recombobulation Area today from Emily Cephos, one of our contributors. She's also the chair of the Outagamie County Democrats. The headline on that piece is, "We have to say enough and have the courage to mean it." And I would encourage people to check out that piece. It's an important reflection, I think, on what we've been seeing the past few days here.
You can find that work and all the other work at therecombobulationarea.news. Therecombobulationarea.news. Let's tell you the facts as we have them at this hour, according to CNN and other news sources as well. A shooting suspect is in custody. The suspect in the killing of Charlie Kirk has been identified as Tyler Robinson and is being held without bail in a Utah jail on several charges, including aggravated murder, according to officials. He is not talking to investigators, according to sources. Last night, one of Robinson's family members reached out to a family friend who then contacted authorities, according to Utah Governor Spencer Cox. A family member told investigators Robinson spoke negatively about Kirk before the shooting. The governor said the investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel and had inscriptions, including ones that read, quote, "Hey, fascist, catch," unquote, were engraved on casings found on that rifle, according to officials. I'm going to stepping away now from the actual CNN. That's just the quick overview and give you, and I've spent all morning, Dan, I'm sure you've done things as well. I mean, I spent all morning after the press conference listening to multiple news sources, doing research online, and a couple of things that strike me. Number one, what I follow things like Mediaite and other news sources that aren't they're not CNN, they're not MSNBC, they're not broadcast news sources. They're more online,
not the traditional,
but neither are they. They're not rumor mills. They are run by actual journalists, and what we're seeing on there that slowly, I'm just struck by how slowly what would be considered mainstream broadcast media is talking about this, but slowly we're finding out a few things. One, the person who allegedly turned in this guy was his dad.
Yeah.
Number two, the dad reached out to their youth minister at their church, who then helped contact authorities to have them come get this guy. Just to give you the down and dirty, this is a 22-year-old white male, a two-parent mom and dad family. I believe there are two other brothers in this family. By all of their, and people who are a lot more talented than me, some of these journalists, people I mentioned online, they know how to go and find the social medias and track down people's Facebook pages and Twitter accounts, and they compile all this online because, so many people, particularly at that age now, live online. And we find out this is a pro-Trump family, a Republican family. This kid was allegedly, I say 22 kid, but was very bright, got a scholarship to this Utah University where the shooting happened, only spent a year there before dropping out. They're a pro-gun family, several photos of them wearing pro-NRA hats. Dan, in short, they don't fit the narrative that we've heard from MAGA for the last 36 hours that was counter to that.
No, but I also wonder how much that matters right now.
I think it matters a lot.
Well, I think in terms of, I think it matters a whole lot. Into all of the details on all of this matter. What I'm wondering about matters, and I think Emily touched on this in the piece that she wrote at the Recombobulation Area, is people are going online and kind of like tallying points in this online game, and it's just like, oh, it wasn't one of our guys. Now it changes the things, and I think that's a frustrating way to approach it. I think to a certain extent too.
A gentleman is dead. His family is grieving. That's first and foremost an atrocity. But I also think there's a political fallout to this is important. We'll discuss it with Dan Schaefer on the other side. and give you a chance to win Brewers tickets. 4 of them. Don't go anywhere. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for Friday on the Civic Media Radio Network. Well, there we go. We're off and running.
Off and running.
Any song requests, Dan?
Oh, I'm always terrible with being on the spot. I guess some Oasis, since I've been on a big
that's
Oasis
right.
kick with my trip this summer.
They also offer field trips, birthday parties, service days.
All right, I didn't realize we were so close to the break there. I wasn't watching the clock.
No, it's fine.
Learn
It's fine.
more at giveshelter.org/education.
My name is Chuck Collins. I'm the great-grandson of the meatpacker Oscar Mayer and a member of the Patriotic Millionaires, a collection of wealthy Americans who share a profound concern about the dangers of concentrated wealth and power in America. Now, the fact is, you may not care how much money another person has, but you likely do
Jeff Perry
care
says,
how
"I
much
love
power
Oasis, a
another
fine
person
choice."
has, especially if they're using that power to rig the rules
also
of the
see Terry's
economy
comment?
to make themselves
let me
richer and you poorer. You see, there is a point where money is no longer money, it's power. And when
Thank
rich
you, Terry. It
people
means a
use
lot.
their money
I try.
to
I
drown
don't-
out the voices
Not
of
perfect.
everyday
Don't have all the
people,
answers, but we
it
try. But
threatens the
now
safety
we're
and
closer to perfection
security
today
of
with
us
Dan
all.
Schaefer. So we
Patriotic
feel-
millionaires.
Yeah, I
don't
would say we're
like
further.
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I
extremely
wouldn't
rich
say that at
people
all.
controlling everything, leaving millions of people struggling to just get by. Luckily, we have a solution. Tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. I'm Chuck Collins. I'm a patriotic millionaire, and I approve this message.
What is a commercial? It's a message delivered to the people, in this instance through your radio speakers, into your ears. Why, it's like a movie for your brain. This radio commercial is directed to the business community. If you want to reach more customers, you should be using WMDX Radio. It's that simple. Just email sales@WMDXradio.com and let our crack sales team show you how to make your business grow with the #1 medium known to
30 seconds.
humankind, the
Gracias.
radio commercial on WMDX. Long may you...
Slip inside the eye of your mind. Don't you know you might find a better place to play? You said that you've never been, but all the things that you've seen slowly fade away.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 22 now, past the hour of 2 o'clock on a Friday, TGIF, September 12th, 2025. Off the Dan Schaefer Recombobulation Area playlist. Dan, you've been on a little Oasis lately.
I've been on a little Oasis kick this summer with getting very into the reunion tour and all of that. It's good stuff.
It really is good stuff. Talking about new details coming out after the press conference this morning on the aftermath, the follow-up, the investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk. A suspect has now been apprehended, a 22-year-old white, apparently Republican from a gun-loving family. Does not fit the narrative that the right was trying to craft over the last 36 hours. Going to pick up more of that discussion with Dan Schaefer, the political editor for Civic Media and founder of the Recombobulation Area. But first, Dan, at 23 past 2 o'clock, it's time for Free Ticket Friday Trivia Giveaway. Let's go.
Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace. Put out in my mind. I'm in love. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried.
That's right. Time for Free Ticket Friday giveaway once again for the Milwaukee Brewers. Still, what, 5.5 games, Dan? Ahead of the Chicago Cubs, I
Something
believe.
like that,
In
yeah.
the NL Central. They get back underway tonight. You can hear it live on many of our Civic Media radio stations. Pre-game show at 6:35. First pitch from AmFam Field against the St. Louis Cardinals just after 7 o'clock. You can hear it on RCE in Richland Center, ISS in Oshkosh, and now BZH, Buzz of the North, in Hayward. All right, here's how it works. If you don't have the Civic Media app, download it right now via your Apple or Android device. It is free, takes less than a minute. It's what Gail King calls a deal. Open it up. We're on the first 10 stations on the Civic Media app. Choose the one closest to you, and then in the lower right-hand corner, it'll say text, a little icon. No, Dan, you cannot play.
I try every time.
I know,
though.
you try.
I go on Matt and Aaron, and I try to win these contests. I come on here on a Friday,
You know
and I
what?
try to
Try
win the
it.
contest.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say no. Try it. See what happens. Give it a try. Why not? So you open up in the lower right-hand corner on the Civic Media app. It'll say text, a little icon. Click on that. Now I'm going to give you a word to text in. Here's the caveat. You must be able to go this coming Thursday, September 18th at 6:40 in the evening. For this Thursday, September 18th, 6:40 in the evening against the Los Angeles Angels. You cannot exchange them for a different date. All right. If you're able to go Thursday, September 18th, get your texting fingers ready. The word is game. The word is game. G as in George, A, M as in Mary, E as in Edward. Game, G-A-M-E. The word is game. Text it right now. We are going to the game. Text the word game right now. G-A-M-E on the Civic Media app. At the end of the day, computer will randomly draw somebody from the correct entries, and you and 3 lucky friends, family, or complete strangers will be on your way to AmFam Field on Thursday, the 18th at 6:40, Brewers against the Angels. All right, text carefully. The word is game, G-A-M-E. All right, Dan, back to, and we'll get more into the Dan's here the whole hour. We really appreciate that. So we'll have a longer discussion here after the farm news at the bottom of the hour. I want to get your take on this. Here's why I think it matters sussing out the truth on who this suspect is, who may have committed this. Because for the last 36 hours, and I'm only going to play one cut, somebody like Derek Van Orton in Wisconsin has been, I think he has done almost 190 some tweets in the last 24 hours attacking people on the left.
Yeah.
And now it turns out that if the police evidence that is coming out now is accurate, it is not anybody on the left. It is, in fact, one of the mega subculture people. And I think it matters because here's a great article in Time magazine. Headline, The Killing of Charlie Kirk and the Political Violence Haunting America by Eric Cortesella. Here's the last line, Dan. Quote, Kirk's sudden public death risks joining that chain. His killing could become not just a tragedy, but a catalyst, an event that radicalizes ever more Americans, less an aberration than the feature of our increasingly perilous national politics, unquote. That from Time. I think it matters because if people lay blame without fact, this is like a tinderbox.
Yeah. I think you're right. That is a real problem when people are jumping to those kinds of conclusions and blaming certain, groups or whatever. And I think, President Trump's statement the other night where he was calling out the left, I thought that was irresponsible. And I think there have been some irresponsible comments coming from people on the left over the course of the week too. Do I think there are more, generally in our political environment coming from the right? I do, but I don't think we can pretend that it's only coming from the right as well. So I think that is something to consider. But I also think this, this example, and there are so many others that we've seen lately about people getting radicalized online by certain subcultures, whether they are, spreading from the MAGA universe or whatever it might be. There was also also this week, there was the school shooting that happened in Colorado.
Right.
There was news today that the 16-year-old who was accused of shooting 2 of his classmates embraced conspiratorial, anti-Semitic, and white supremacist social media content. And so this is just such a widespread problem in our country, in our political culture, and in our online spaces that so many of us reside in for probably too much of our days.
And we're going to come back on the other side as well, because there's a great quote. I don't agree with every single thing that he said, but Governor Spencer Cox of Utah had a great quote, a great moment, I thought, where he warned people, take a breath and realize where some of this information is coming from. and take care of each other. We'll hear that, and you're going to find out what groiper means. You're going to hear about this all weekend. Dan and I will tell you what it means. Don't go anywhere. You will not want to miss it. Farm News is next. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media on the Civic Media Radio Network.
And 9,000 hemp shops.
Join the family. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
Simple question for
Zommers
you on a
Clemens
Friday.
just sent us.
If you
Yes, I
wanted
got
a
it.
All right,
bill
thank you very much.
go from $400 a year to $7,000
And does it say in there,
a year,
I guess I
and it
could
was a
look myself.
service you had to
Does he have a number?
Would
You
you
want
be
to just
upset?
confirm with him, please,
I'm
whether
Pam
we're
Yonke
calling
with a
him or
quick
he's
update on
calling
what's
us?
happening in
And
He
food service
texted
news on a
me.
Friday.
Oh, he's got it.
Exactly
Okay, all
what's
right. Thank you. I
happening
appreciate
to
it.
some of
Look,
our
ladies and gentlemen
Wisconsin
watching the
livestock
stream,
marketers,
see, if you do one of
as
these
well as
shows,
those
make
that
sure yourself,
depend
you
on
got yourself a
livestock.
Zommers.
That's
what
why
you
I
do.
was on my phone during. I was doing work. I was texting Mike Clemens.
I'm not judging.
Livestock
Whatever.
industry wants to respond. Details on the way.
Whether it's finally getting that blue ribbon or enjoying.
See, we can't just be on the two of us for just a half hour. I feel like we were
No,
just getting
yeah,
warmed
right,
up.
right.
This is-
We were in the bullpen. Now we're
That's
coming out
right.
in the mound.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I'm always happy to have you as long as you want, but you understand, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Schaefer is a busy man. I'm just here doing my little dog and pony show for a couple hours, but he has real responsibility. So I don't like to, take too much of his time, but I'm happy to have it.
I always love to join the show.
Yeah,
It's
me
not,
too.
you know.
From 83% to more than 1,600% increase on fees charged of
Especially in
livestock
studio
markets,
when we get the
livestock
opportunity
dealers,
to.
and
Yeah,
livestock
that's why it's
truckers.
more fun.
Kurt
Yeah.
Larson, president and CEO of the Equity Livestock Sales Association, says the bottom line, it's not
You got
fair,
this great
and
view
it
here.
needs to be
I know,
shared
right?
expense.
To
Looking
be
out
quite
on the
honest,
beautiful
it's,
State Street.
it's
Oh, it's the
not
what does
really
the Sam
something
Davidson
that
Street cam look like?
is producer driven. It's really
take a
more
look
It's
at
the
that.
official
Oh,
name
look-
of it, the Sam
yeah.
David.
Oh, yeah, we
and
call it the
that's
Sam
where a lot of the
Davidson
neighboring
because he's the one that
states
created
say,
it. So.
Yeah.
This needs to be funded by more than just the producer side. That we need to put some shared funding into this thing to make sure it's successful and we can cover.
All
All
right,
the
so
work
just so
that
you
needs
know,
to
like
be
the
done
number
because it's
when you
it's
we're
a
not going to
big
get to
bill
all these, obviously
put
this
all
hour,
on
but
the
just so you know what's in
shoulders
the
of producers.
in the
Kurt Larson,
can here
president
to
and
use.
CEO of the
Okay.
Equity
We've got.
Livestock Sales
I do want to play this.
Association.
This
There
is
are
Trump
two
this
additional
morning
hearings
being
on
asked,
this
"How are you?
subject
How are
coming
you?
up
How are
next
you
week. They're
doing?
being held
How are you
face-to-face
holding up
and
after
Oh,
the
yeah.
assassination of your friend
Larson
Charlie
says it's
Kirk?
critically
You know we're
important
building a
that
ballroom.
all Wisconsin livestock operators
Talk
and
about
boards
Yeah.
if the narrative didn't match, we're moving on.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got Evers saying that GOP knew that if they voted against the budget request at JFC, these two vet centers would be shut down. We got a couple Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit 9/11, but I might save that for Clemens. We got Eric Trump claiming that bullets only fly in one way. We got DBO blaming the media for Kirk's assassination from Heartland Signal. We got Jim Nance on saying you don't have to have hot takes all the time, but maybe later. We got this is good, but it's a little long. But a side by side of Biden's addressing the nation after Trump got shot, and Trump addressing the nation after Kirk got shot. Just the difference in tone and leadership. We got this is what I want to do for sure. The Utah governor, Spencer Cox on misinformation, and then we got Charlie Kirk. Well, I don't want to. It's in there. If anybody challenges us, we actually have the clip where Kirk calls for the release of the Epstein files.
Okay.
So just again, I know we're not going to get to all those, but just so you know, like
That's what's in the mix.
That's we've got that available. I for sure want to use the Utah governor. And I for sure want to use the Trump clip from this morning, and for sure the DVO clip.
Okay.
So those three for sure is on.
Sounds
So
good.
if they're in order that I sent them, it would be 1, which is the Trump clip, 5 is DVO, and 8 is the Utah governor.
Advancements are widely shared.
Weekday mornings 6 till 8 on 92.7 WMX and the Civic Media app.
Hey there, Wisconsin. Tom Hartman here. Democracy is not a spectator sport.
Tom Hartman. Yeah, thank you very much. I don't need to get a headache.
All right, 30 seconds.
Tom Hartman. I just don't need it. first thought now, past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Friday, TGIF, the 12th of September. I know how it's going to be every time Dan Schaefer is here. It's going to be great. That's how it's going to be. The founder of the Recombobulation Area, our political editor. Glad to have him in studio here at the world headquarters in Madison today. Lots to get to, Dan. Quickly, though, for those listening, Brewers are look, I know they went through a little three-game losing streak, but they're going to get hot this weekend. Still ahead in the National League Central. Going to be playing tonight against the Cardinals, 6:35 for the pregame show. You can hear it on our Brewer radio affiliate stations. If you want to go, and tickets are hard to come by this weekend, partner sold out, as my granddad used to say. We got 4 of them, 4 hot tickets for Thursday's game, September 18th. Got to be able to go on September 18th. You cannot exchange them for another date, and you have to be able to go at 6:40 in the evening against the Los Angeles Angels. Here's what you do. Open up your Civic Media app. The first 10 stations are the ones that we're on. Choose one. You'll see a text icon, and text the word game right now. G-A-M-E. The word is game. G-A-M-E. You have until 4 o'clock to text us. If you texted to other shows, you're still eligible for this one. Game. G-A-M-E. Text it right now. 4 Brewer tickets in those beautiful club level seats up for grabs, and we'll keep you reminding you of that through the game. All right, Dan, lots to get to. Let's try to get through as much as we can here, talking about the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination. You've said it, I've said it, this network has said it. We call out any violence, particularly political violence of any kind, of any sort. It doesn't belong. It's repugnant. Full stop. That's the first thing.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I just want to make sure we get that on the record.
And we can always have conversations, and we have conversations here on the Civic Media Network, and we can disagree from time to time, and we can disagree without being disagreeable and without it turning to anything violent.
Yeah, absolutely. So the news this morning from Utah, Kash Patel, FBI director, and others were there, along with the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, announcing a new person. They believe it is the killer. The alleged killer is in custody, a 22-year-old white male from a Republican family. His dad, 27-year in law enforcement, a former sheriff. What happened apparently is the dad recognized his son in the photos. He called their youth minister, so they are Mormon, Christian, Mormon family. The youth minister said, you have to do the right thing. The family and the youth minister turned this kid in. He was taken into custody and has now been charged with murder. From all sorts of online social media accounts, they are pro-gun, they are pro-Trump, they are pro-NRA. And so a narrative that somehow this was someone that was from the left is apparently, seemingly, from what we know at this hour, simply not true. Dan, I want to get into the weeds just for a couple of minutes here, because I think this is really important to pass on to our listeners, because, again, I'm seeing this on online legit media, but not so much on broadcast, and probably a whole other bottle of wine. My feelings are that today's broadcasters are being suppressed because they're fearful of Trump's FCC and their licenses. Agree or disagree with that?
I mean, it has to be I don't know if suppressed, but it's a point of consideration, I think.
I just, that's another discussion. But what I'm seeing on online legitimate media, not, it's like Mediaite and other social media, legit journalists, Semaphore, is that, and so people say, well, why did this guy do it? How would a pro-Trump person kill, allegedly, Charlie Kirk? Here is what's being alleged at this hour, that this 22-year-old alleged shooter is something known as a groyper. All right? People say, what the heck is a groyper? I'm going to read you the definition. A groyper, sometimes called the Groyper Army, are a group of alt-right, white nationalists, and Christian nationalists, activists, led by Nick Fuentes. Members of the groups have attempted to introduce alt-right policies into mainstream conservatism in the United States and participated in the January 6 attacks on the U.S. Capitol and the protests leading up to it. They have targeted other conservative groups and individuals whose agendas they view as too moderate and insufficiently nationalist. The Groyper movement has been described as a white nationalist, homophobic, nativist, fascist, sexist, anti-Semitic, and an attempt to rebrand the declining alt-right movement. That's a dictionary description of this, Dan. What's interesting, I think, for our listeners as well, is people have gone to, if you're not familiar, Twitter now owned by Elon Musk. It goes by X. There's an AI platform, Grok, where you type in, it's an AI thing like Chat GPT only for X. And people have gone to this and they put in the information. Even Elon Musk's X Grok AI is confirming, according to its AI brain, that this kid fits a groyper, and this is the far, far right extremism of MAGA today.
And it's concerning.
Yeah.
I think you've seen examples of the fact that, I think we think of Donald Trump and his movement as, being pretty far to the right. I think we can't forget that there are those even further, even more dangerous. And I think it just speaks to a culture that exists in online spaces right now that has kind of gotten out of control. And I do wonder if, if like the new leadership at the FBI and what have you, are they focusing on this, right? Are they focusing on online extremism and the dangers that poses? I think we all have to be mindful of, the fact that this stuff is out there, right?
I totally agree. And again, we could do a whole hour on this. And I'm still, folks, I've spent all morning after the press conference this morning going to legitimate sources, diving deep. Here's what I can tell you. Maybe Zommers, if you want to jump in because you're more of this generation. And I think, Dan, this is, I'm a Gen Xer. You're a millennial.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I look at the baby boomer age. I think, well, I'm not really that old. And I think, well, okay, I'm getting there. And then I look at you and I think, well, you're pretty hip and into things.
And I'm feeling pretty old these days too. So.
And then you got to go to Zommers, a 25-year-old.
I'm 26.
20, I'm sorry. and so here's what I caution people as you're watching the information, if you're intaking your consuming information this weekend, because people are focusing on what was written allegedly on the bullet casings. And they're saying, well, that means that, it was a transgender and furries, which I don't want to go down the rabbit hole on that, but that's a small sect of people who dress up in costumes basically for cosplay. But if you go to this, apparently what I'm seeing is there's a multiplayer online internet game called Hell Divers. And so these things like Bel Cello or Bel, whatever, I don't know Spanish or Italian, Bella Cow or
Ciao.
Ciao? Yeah, Bella Ciao.
I think.
And allegedly it was part of a World War II anti-fascism Nazi song, but that's been co-opted by these Gen Zers in this online game or whatever you want to call it, Hell Divers, to mean something different. So just know, everybody, as you consume your information, and people my age, 55, Dan's age, mid-30s, we don't know what we're talking about. You got to go down to the vernacular of kids using this online. Zommers, yes or no?
Yeah, and one of the key things to note about groypers and similar like ultra alt-right, ideologies, and I will say groups that try to groom young people to commit violent acts, is that one of their specific goals is to confuse and troll people.
Mm-hmm.
And so they will use self-contradicting political rhetoric to make it hard to figure out what's going on while they shoot for their quote-unquote high score and try to kill more people.
So, I mean, and I'm not here, Dan, to say, oh, all online gaming is bad or whatever, but I heard someone else, and I give them credit. I just watched someone this morning, can't remember. One of the pundits this morning on TV. So this gets to, and I think they're a mental health person, and we've had Kira Saban on this program and others. There is an epidemic in this country, Dan, of loneliness, particularly among single males.
Mm-hmm.
And this is driving them to online platforms where people that might be already open to mental health issues, they find what we would consider a sick kind of community that warps their mind.
Right. And I think it's such a problem and I don't really know what we do about it, right? And it's just like, you know, you don't want to censor places, but also like this is dangerous ideology that people should not have no place with. Like, and then there's also like kind of the element, and just in the way you're describing this too, it's just like there's these layers of insanity, and it's just like, how do you even make sense of what actually this is as just like a regular person going about your life? Like, I'm pretty dialed into politics in my day-to-day life. Like, obviously I'm the political editor here at Civic Media. I run my own, opinion column and online publication. I don't understand half of this. And like, if, just some regular person who's just working their job and going about their life, and they're going to be introduced to this, and there's just like these 5 levels of trying to understand what this game is and what it says about that and how it's connected to these extremist spaces online. It's so, I mean, it's discombobulating, it's confusing, and I don't know what you do about it either.
But thank you for it, because you just made basically one of my main points is that these politicians, these leaders, if you want to call them that, the left or right, are using this situation, in my opinion, to score political points when they're not diving down on the nuances and the layers to actually know what this stuff means.
Yeah. Yeah, and the details matter.
The details really do matter.
Yeah, and I had this, I was reporting a story last year during the election, and I had somebody explain this to me. It's just about, an issue that Democrats were trying to fight on. If you're taking 3 sentences to explain it, you're already lost. And that's part of the problem, too.
Zomers, do we have time for the Utah governor clip? Or is it?
Yes.
All right. This is really important, folks. The Utah Governor Spencer Cox last night in Utah talking about the information that we consume, and we should have to be careful.
For those people who are spending so much time on social media, I think Charlie said it best, that when things get bad, we should put our phones down and spend a little time with our families. There is a tremendous amount of disinformation. We are tracking our team, the state team, and I'm sure the federal team as well. What we're seeing is our adversaries want violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence. I would encourage you to ignore those, to turn off those streams, and to spend a little more time with our families. We desperately need some healing. We'll have more to say about that in the days and weeks to come.
That is the Republican governor of Utah, Spencer Cox. Dan, I thought it was just great advice for all of us, including me. Touch grass, as the kids say.
Yeah, get off the phones. I'm so guilty of doom scrolling for way too long, and I think it is, I think Governor Cox, a Republican, has handled this pretty reasonably well, I think, all things considered. And again, those are the types of leaders that we need to hear from, people who are encouraging the opposite of what we hear from maybe the representative from the 3rd Congressional District here in Wisconsin.
We'll hear what Derek Van Orton's saying. And also, Donald Trump kind of seems to be over it. Donald Trump, in his own words, not going to want to miss that. And we'll give you the Brewer Ticket magic word to win 4 tickets after this on Civic Media's Radio Network.
With us, Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
Yeah, Patrick in the 608 is correct. The bullet casing verbiage is irrelevant, used to deflect so the blame can be pinned on different people. Yeah, it's the
your immune system weakens as you age.
Political message that this group try to do is.
Yes, I agree it's irrelevant, but it's relevant to explain the truth because other people are using it to make
I'm saying that is the truth, is that everyone should know that it is specifically put there to confuse people.
Correct. Yeah. But you made a great point. I mean, we're paid to do this, folks, so I'm not complaining. But I mean, it's exhausting to have to dig down all these layers because we want to make sure we get things right. And so you can't just take a press release or anything. You have to do your own work to dive down on this stuff.
Yeah.
The original House
and who has the time to do that? Who's not employed for us on the radio? Right. Yeah.
That's why you're here, folks. That's why you're listening. That's why read the recombobulation.
4.5 trillion.
But yeah, I think you made a great point. The average average person out there, they're not A, they're not going to have time to do this, and B, they're just going to, at some point, they're going to say, this is so effing confusing, I'm done.
Right.
Right. Right. You know,
as a percentage of GDP, it doesn't rank in the top 5%.
Should we take calls for this last bit, or what do you?
I want to kind of get through, so we'll see. I mean, Mark and CJ, we got a lot here, agenda to get through. If we have time, we'll take you, but please don't take it personally, just because we got to get through some of this stuff. It turns out Dan and I talk a lot together when we get together.
We're not even going to get to the Packers, are we?
I'll make sure
Or
we
your
do.
beloved Packers.
I know. Well, I'll try.
Complaints to federal court. If the high court takes
See, I don't pay. I can't do college sports. I've had to make a decision.
Really? Not even Marquette?
No.
In 2021,
Maybe if I had gone, I think if I had gone to a D1 school, I mean, I went to Oshkosh, so it was
I went to Platteville.
But that's the thing. Like, I think if I'd have gone to Madison, or if I'd have gone to Marquette, more of a connection to care about these things. But I just don't pay attention to a lot of college sports.
Dan Schaefer can only handle so much. Understand his bandwidth for sports is only so broad.
That's right. Had to make a choice. At a certain point, you can't watch 12 hours of football every week, every day, every Saturday and Sunday, just on Sunday.
May 14th, a three-judge appeals panel affirmed that decision, but still only for the 8th Circuit. After a July 15th stay, the nations asked the High Court on September 4th to take the case. Spirit Lake Nation Chair Lana Jackson Street said, "It is shameful
30
that
seconds.
when we succeeded in
Gracias.
court and got a fair map in place, the state turned its attack toward the Voting Rights Act and a person's right to vote free from discrimination. We need the Supreme Court to protect our fundamental
So I guess you might as well. What's the story, morning glory?
Straight off of the Spotify playlist of Dan Schaefer. This is how he gets recombobulated.
That's right.
Takes a run by Lake Michigan and listens to.
What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis.
There you go.
Which
little
turns
Oasis.
30 this year.
Really?
That album.
Really? Incredible. Time flies. All right, Dan Schaefer, founder of the Recombobulation Area. You can find him at the recombobulationarea.news. Also, the civic media political editor is here. Lots to get to, Dan. Short time to get to. Let's get to a couple of these cuts. 3rd District Republican Congressman from Wisconsin in Washington, D.C. yesterday. This is courtesy of Heartland Signal. This is before we knew who the police law enforcement arrested in connection with the Charlie Kirk killing, which turns out to be apparently a pro-Trump family, a gun-owning family, a white family, a Christian family. But yet here is Derek Van Orton in Washington yesterday talking to the press gaggle.
Every single one of you here, you're at fault. Hey, you know what? Knock it off. Knock it off.
Do you believe Republicans have a problem?
You are responsible for that assassination yesterday. You should be ashamed of yourself. What about the Democratic lawmakers?
Dan Schaefer, I'm at a loss for words.
It's a really problematic statement, as we've seen many problematic statements from Representative Derek Van Orden in his time in public office. He's been on Twitter constantly, basically since the shooting, having a host of things to say. I mean, we could spend the whole show just reading off of Derek Van Orden's hundreds of tweets about this, blaming the left, blaming the media. I think it is important to note at this, as we do this, kind of make sense of things here. His has been the exception. I do sincerely believe that there majority of us out there on the right and the left have responded to this assassination, to this moment, by encouraging calm, by condemning political violence, by doing and saying the right things. I think most of us are out there doing and saying the right things. Derek Van Orden is not.
Right.
And I don't, we can focus on that and highlight what he had to say. But I do think what he has been doing and saying has been the exception. It has not been the norm. I think most people out there, I think, we played the clip from the Utah governor. I think there are more people out there who are sounding and saying things like the Utah governor than there are saying things like Derek Van Orden. It is just extremely unfortunate and frightening, frankly, that he is saying what he is.
And now the last 3 or 4 hours, he has changed his tone on Twitter from going after the left and Democrats to now calling out individuals and universities, these few exceptions on the left who are, Dan and I think are in agreement, are also despicable of being gleeful about the death of Charlie Kirk. That's repugnant, in my opinion.
I think I absolutely agree. It's awful. It's despicable. But people should not be talking like that.
100% agree with you. But now, Derek, instead of saying, okay, we got the shooter and, it's really unfortunate that it's essentially one of ours, he doesn't want to talk about that. And I think that's also wrong.
Mm-hmm.
President Donald Trump on the White House lawn this morning was asked in the press gaggle. It's hard to hear, so I'm going to tell you. The question was, sir, how are you holding up after the assassination of your friend, Charlie Kirk?
My condolences on the loss of your friend, Charlie Kirk. How are you holding up over the last 3.5 days?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty. It'll be an absolutely magnificent structure. And I just see all the trucks. We just started, so it'll get done very nicely, and it'll be one of the best anywhere in the world, actually.
So Marine One was getting ready to take off, so it's kind of hard to hear, Dan. But the question asking, how are you holding up after the assassination of your friend Charlie Kirk? Very well, thank you, or pretty well, thank you. And then goes on to talk about the building of a White House ballroom. Again, now doesn't want to talk about it.
If I hate to do like the whataboutism if you flipped it, but like in this case, if somebody had asked Barack Obama in a press conference what he thought about this, and he turned to immediately move to the interior decorating at the White House, I think people would have a problem with that too.
100%, and rightly so.
Yeah.
But again, because the narrative now doesn't match what they want it to on the right, because it allegedly looks like this guy, this assassin, is someone from the ultra far right. They call them groypers within MAGA who are. I want to get this out quickly. Nick Fuentes, who has had dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump, and all kinds of things you look on internet where he was going after Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
recently,
yeah.
Right?
Well, this one was when Kirk started a 2019 campus tour. Fuentes declared, quote, a groyper war, unquote, against the, quote, fake conservative, unquote, asking his followers at Kirk events to press him on stances that weren't, quote, conservative enough. Expose him, unquote. That's what this guy was being fed.
Yeah.
And later on, if you
that has escalated in the 6 years since that.
And if you go on, and then in comments after that, Fuentes basically says, well, I'm just kind of kidding. I'm just kind of, this is just, but these people don't understand, Dan, that people who are already susceptible to mental health issues, who are alone, they cling to this and then they act.
And not every one of them is kidding.
No, not at all.
That's what we need to be mindful of and take seriously. It's just like, how much is, like, where's the line here?
Touch grass. You watched the Packers last night?
I did. That was a heck of a game.
Wasn't it?
That was fun.
That was fantastic.
Tucker Kraft jumping in the stands. He had a great game.
Yeah.
The Packers defense played great. We got a fun team.
2-0 for the first time. Clemens will keep me honest on this. First time in 4 or 5 years they've started the regular season 2-0.
Not too bad.
Not too bad at all. You can find all of Dan's work at therecombobulationarea.news. If you're kind of uncertain about what's going on, recombobulate yourself. Go to the recombobulation area. Always great to have you here, Dan. We'll talk to you tonight at Idea Fest at 6.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Todd.
Always a pleasure. Dan Schaefer, everybody. Come on back. Hour 2, Brewers tickets. What's worse? And Mike Clemens. Come on back on the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media's Radio Network.
Is 92.7 WMDX.
All right. Thank you, Dan Schaefer.
Real news and great conversation. A Civic Media
See,
station.
look at all these things we didn't get to.
This is a special report from ABC.
It goes was quick.
I'm Michelle Franzen. After 2 days of an all-out search for the killer in the murder of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk, police in Utah announced an arrest today, naming 22-year-old Tyler Robinson as the lone suspect. It followed days of searching the campus and neighborhood near Utah Valley University and authorities asking the public for help in identifying a person of interest. Utah's governor says Robinson's family and a family friend reached out to police.
Video from the scene and still images from surveillance cameras pointed law enforcers in the right direction. But FBI Director Kash Patel says an overwhelming public response provided the key.
We have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. Every one of those leads will be run out.
Patel says there's no indication that anyone beyond Tyler Robinson was involved in Kirk's killing. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Authorities say they've also retrieved a rifle near the campus and analyzed cartridges and say some included engraved messages. This is ABC News.
Local news, weather, and sports on air and streaming on the Civic Media app. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. We've got an Amber Alert in Wisconsin today. Authorities want you to keep an eye out for 6-year-old Ruby Lehman. The Portage County Sheriff's Office says she was last seen at her grandma's house after school yesterday, but then a car believed to be driven by her uncle Jordan stopped by, then left, and Ruby has not been seen since. She was last seen wearing a light purple dress with smiley faces on it and white shoes with Lilo and Stitch on them. She's believed to be with her uncle Jordan Coyle. He has distinctive red hair and a red beard. He's about 6'3" and 250 pounds. Authorities want you to keep an eye out for a specific truck, a 2001 white Ford F-250 with Wisconsin license plate WC2249. If you think you see that truck, Coyle, or 6-year-old Ruby, call 911. And Wisconsin will be getting federal disaster money after the flooding last month, but not all the help Governor Tony Evers requested. The federal government approved nearly $30 million in FEMA funding. The Trump administration announced yesterday that they would approve a partial emergency declaration by Governor Evers. Everyday people with flood damage in Milwaukee, Washington, and Waukesha counties will get the money, but that kind of help is still under review for the folks in Door, Grant, and Ozaukee counties. All 6 counties will get money straight to their local governments to fix infrastructure, according to the governor's office. It's estimated that last month's storms did more than $76 million in damage to structures and public infrastructure. More than 1,500 homes were damaged or destroyed. And our spell of fall weather is over as 80-degree highs return this weekend. The summery temperatures are supposed to stick around for most of next week. Travel Wisconsin has launched their annual fall color tracker, and it shows that around the state, everything is still looking mostly green. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
It's the Brewers and the Cardinals. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball, the Brewers back home and open a weekend series tonight against the St. Louis Cardinals. Milwaukee trying to snap a 3-game
What a
losing
lovely
streak
shot,
after
Sommers.
being
Well
swept by the Rangers in Texas.
Did you set it up?
I
did. And then I rotated it to be level. Yeah. So we set it up. It was a collaborative effort.
It was a collaborative
Green
effort.
Bay beat the Commanders 27-18. Quarterback Jordan Love on winning 2 games in 4 days.
To start the season off 2-0 against 2 really good teams, big playoff teams last year. It feels good. So couldn't have, started the season off on a better note. So it's one thing that we just got to keep building on. But it feels great right now.
A setback for Packers wide receiver Jaden Reed, who suffered a broken collarbone. He's expected to be out 8 weeks. College football tomorrow. The Badgers at Alabama. Kickoff 11 a.m.
Alabama.
Last time Wisconsin beat the Crimson Tide was November of 1928. Final score 15-0. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Come work with us. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. Increasing sunshine for today. Summery with a high of 83. Tonight, an isolated shower or storm possible after midnight. A low of 64. A lingering shower or storm possible in the morning on Saturday. Otherwise, partly sunny with highs in the
For
lower
Mike Clemens,
80s.
we have another
It's
bumper.
79.
Oh, okay. Cool.
To start it off.
Amicus, a law review with Jim Santel.
Louisiana
few other
versus
clips.
Calais, Callais, could deal a death blow to the impact, the power, the capacity of the Supreme Court to decide Voting Rights Act cases. This is one of those times when the Supreme Court needs to hear from the public about the appropriate resolution of this major case that could compromise the Voting Rights Act going forward beyond Louisiana.
Amicus, a law review with Jim Santel. Saturday mornings from 9 to 11.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care.
About
This
30
life-saving
seconds.
care is made
Gracias.
possible by a global movement of support.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh along with Mr. Aaron Zommers on the board. It's 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on this TGI Friday, September 12th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Boy, get outside. It's a great day to be outside, being a Wisconsinite. It's mostly sunny skies, maybe a little overcast clouds here and there, but it is a perfecto fall day. Zommers, how are you?
Doing well. Do you want to take a look at the Sam Davison street
Let's take
cam?
a look at the Sam Davidson street cam. There are rumors that he is back in the fold after being gone for the summer. And here is the camera that he created. There is a beautiful intersection of State Street and Fairchild, a block off the Capitol Square. Person crossing against the light almost got hit.
A common sight.
Almost got hit by a van.
People just walk and bike when they want.
So you tried to promote the downtown Madison, and you got Yahoo's walking across the light. Lovely Overture Center right there. Yeah, it's a beautiful day to be outside, as they say. It looks like the forecast going to be hotter, going to be heating up. Summer is back. There used to be a term for that, but I don't know that I can say it anymore.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
what else do you call it?
The term is Indian summer.
Thank you.
We can at least say that that is the term.
That is the term.
I don't know if there's a replacement for it yet.
I haven't heard a replacement. We should ask our friend Robert Pilot, who's a Native American who does Native Roots Radio every night, is it still okay to call something Indian summer?
I don't know what he's going to say, but my guess is probably going to be sure.
That's my guess, but I don't want to speak for him.
Right. Of course not. Of course not.
Anyway, it's going to be Indian summer like this weekend. So get out and enjoy it, everyone. We're right in the middle of our free ticket Friday giveaway. Spectacular. They don't like it when I add words. It's hard for me to remember Free Ticket Friday because I used to watch Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, and then it was Kelly Lee. And they always a trivia. And so they made a big thing about it, and I always think about that when I talk about this segment.
You know what else you have trouble remembering? That it's statewide.
Yes, we already got a note from upstairs. The attorneys on the 12th floor said, you have to remember it is a statewide contest. So yes, here's how you can win 4 free tickets. And here's the deal. You got to be able to go this Thursday, September 18th. Don't be calling up and saying, well, I won, but I can't go. Can I have a different day? The answer, respectfully, is no, you may not. Because Luke Mathers controls these tickets. They're kept in a leather satchel, which is rubbed daily, at least weekly, with synthetic mink oil. And he takes these out and he distributes them. And he has this Thursday, the 18th of September at 6:40 p.m. set aside. 4 tickets in our beautiful club level seats at AmFam Field. These ain't your regular seats, all right? special club level. You have your own concessions area for that level. It's air conditioned in case it's hot. Bathrooms close by, beautiful clean bathrooms. And here's how you win them, or at least you're eligible to win. Download the Civic Media app on your Apple or Android device. Open it up. First 10 stations are ours. I sound like Richard Dawson now from Family Feud. 100 people surveyed, top 10 answers on the board. Top 10 we're on the first 10 stations on the Civic Media app. Open one. It doesn't have to be the number one answer. Open one of them. And then you'll see a little text icon. Text this word right now. The word is game. Thank you. Let's play the feud. Game. G-A-M-E. G as in George. A as in Apple. M as in Mary. E as in Edward. Game. We are going to the game on Sunday, actually. Game. G-A-M-E. Text the word game right now. At the end of the 4 o'clock hour, the computer will randomly draw from the correct entries. And then somebody at the end of this day is going to win 4 tickets to that Brewers game on September 18th. The word is game. G-A-M-E. Good luck. Many thanks, by the way, to Dan. Always great to have Dan Schaefer, but even better when Dan Schaefer is in person. So many thanks to him. You can find his and all the other work at the recombobulation area.news. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, just thereafter, Mike Clemens. Nobody knows sports better than our own Mike Clemens. We're lucky to have him, our top-notch sports reporter. He was at Lambeau Field last night, going to give us an update on that big Packer win. They're 2-0. Also preview the Brewers, who get back in action tonight. By the way, Summers, as you see, at least four of the Brewers were at Lambeau Field last night.
I did not see that.
Bryce Terang, Durbin, what's his first name? Now I can't.
Is it Caleb?
Maybe Durbin was there, and then you had Sal Frelick and Joey Ortiz. They were all there, and of course these guys come from other places, so they're not naturally Brewers or Packers fans, but they put on their cheese heads and they went up and had a lot of fun, and they posted stuff on social media. So it's great seeing some of the Brewers up there at Lambeau last night.
By the way, we got a text from Sue in Franklin, texting in on WAUK, saying, how do they notify you if you win? Email, text, call? I mean, of course, just in case I win, Sue says. To my knowledge, first you will get a text. Mm-hmm. If you do not respond or you don't get it, they'll give you a call. From there, I'm not sure. But
then they send 2 people in a dark car. No, not really.
Carrier pigeon?
Carrier pigeon. Yeah, that's right. Brewers underway tonight against St. Louis, 6:35. Your pregame show just after 7 o'clock. The first pitch from AmFam Field. The Brewers hosting the Cardinals tonight. So text the word game, G-A-M-E, game, right now. That's the word for this hour. And you'll have a chance to win those 4 free tickets for this Thursday, September 18th. So Clemens will be in talking Packers, Brewers, and I got my Motion W polo shirt on today. The Badgers, last time I checked, 20-point underdogs. The Badgers against Alabama. What would you take on the over-under on 20? I don't know. I'd be tempted to take the over. I'm sorry, but I kind of am. I wish them all the best. I want them to win. Clemens will. I heard his sports report coming in today. Clemens will tell us that it was like 1930 or 40 the last time the Badgers beat Alabama. But who knows? Lightning could strike. All right, looking forward to that. All right, right now it's coming up on 14 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again to play What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then of course the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again to play What's Worse. Nothing to give away, no prize money involved, but it is your chance to have your voice heard across all 10 News Talk sports stations in the statewide Civic Media Radio Network. Timely indeed, as Mike Lucas likes to say. By the way, I went to that Tom Oates Mike Lucas Ideas Fest this week on Tuesday at the Italian Workmen's Club. And let me tell you, that's a cool place. The Italian Workman Club at the Greenbush neighborhood in Madison. Couple of things. Their guest on their podcast for Oates and Lucas was former Wisconsin player, Olympic player, coach, and former Badger men's hockey coach, Tony Granato. Great guy. Really, really interesting. Told some great stories, not just about sports, but life. He, like Lucas, is a cancer survivor. So I'd encourage you to check out Lucas and Oates' podcast this week there with Tony Granato. But timely indeed, as Mike Lucas likes to say. Today's category, and what's worse, a busy weekend or a lazy weekend. A busy weekend or a lazy weekend. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or you can text us on the Civic Media app. As we said, download it, your favorite Apple or Android device, the Civic Media app, or you can text us on Yahoo.
That's a new one.
You probably could. I'm not sure it'd go anywhere. You can text on YouTube. I guess they both start with Y. YouTube, Facebook, or the Twitter X Twix. What's worse, a busy weekend or a lazy weekend?
I like the images for this one. Busy weekend shows a beach that is absolutely packed, completely full. So many people, so many umbrellas and towels. It's a wonder anybody can get anywhere. And lazy weekend, completely vacant beach that looks like it might be the same one. It's hard to tell.
Now, for me, just looking at the photographs alone on the stream here, and we have a lot of people watching today because Dan Schaefer has a huge audience, and we appreciate it when he brings his viewers with us. So those watching on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the like, yeah, it's not even close for me. I know exactly where I'd be going on which one. Busy weekend or lazy weekend? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Megan on the text line in beautiful Sun Prairie said, I'd rather have a lazy weekend, but I'm a bit of a hermit. Busy weekends are worse for me. All right. Busy weekend or lazy weekend? What's worse? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Robert in McFarland has an expletive and says, I wish I got weekends. I feel you, Robert. I mean, I'm very fortunate in this job. I do get weekends most of the time. But boy, when I own my own business or coffee shop or when I worked in retail, other jobs I've had, you don't get weekends. You're absolutely right.
I used to work third shift in a foundry with mandatory overtime. Right. And yeah, we had one day off.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, listening to beautiful Brown Deer on WAUK, says busy weekends are worse. Busy weekends are made for being lazy. Yes, Brett, probably if you get weekends, then yeah, time to just hang out, right? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go to the phone lines. Jesse in Madison, listening to WMDX. Jesse, busy weekends or lazy weekends? What's worse?
Sorry for the cop-out answer, but there is no worse. It's the weekend. Just enjoy it.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Like every other day,
just
right?
Let it happen.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah. You have any plans for this weekend, Jesse?
We're going to go see Weird Al tonight.
Oh, really? Where's he playing
The weekend
at?
starts at 5 o'clock on Friday. Bree Stevens.
Oh, is he at Bree Stevens?
I didn't realize he was in town.
Really? Why didn't we have?
Oh,
we
yeah.
could have booked. You're telling me we could have booked Weird Al Yankovic? He's right down the street, and we. Oh my gosh! See, this
Lost opportunity.
We've dropped the ball. All right,
I'll take the blame on that one.
Thanks. Thanks, Jesse. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Weird Al Yankovic. All right, very good. Camilla in beautiful Milwaukee, listening on WAUK, says, Todd, I'm never going to apologize for a lazy weekend. So busy weekends are worse. All right, very good. What else we have here? PJ looks like on the YouTube channel, looks like he's going to Weird Al as well, perhaps.
Or is at least aware of it.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, anyway. What's worse, busy weekends or lazy weekends? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. We'll come back and wrap that up in just... Oh, PJ says, nope, I can't afford going to Weird Al. He's not going. We'll come back, wrap that up. Also give you an update on flood relief in Milwaukee. And get ready for a sports report from the best in the business. Mike Clemens coming up after Farm News in just a bit. Stay with us. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Friday. Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
It's not a lisp. It's where we live. WMDX.
Herbal Aspect has landed. That's right. Madison's go-to cannabis destination now has a brand new location in Sun Prairie.
Wait, 4 locations? That's a high level of convenience.
With 3 Madison locations and now Sun Prairie, a great cannabis experience is always close by. Our expert staff is here to help, whether you walk in, call, or order online. Mention Radio 420 and get a special discount. So stop by Herbal Aspect in Sun Prairie, because great cannabis isn't just a pipe dream.
Nice. I'm rolling over now.
Herbal Aspect.
Burlow Mattress on East Washington is having a moving sale. Shop now while supplies last and get 25% off anything physically in the store. That's right. Get to 4100 East Washington Avenue for Burlow's moving sale. American-made, locally crafted Burlow.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by-in for the people. September 4th, Native nations asked the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold the long-standing right of individuals to bring voting rights complaints to federal court. If the High Court takes the case, its decision could have consequences for voting rights protections under the Voting Rights Act. In 2021, the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians and the Spirit Lake Nation negotiated with the state of North Dakota to create voting districts which didn't dilute Native voting power. But after a 2023 8th Circuit Court decision in Arkansas, the state of North Dakota reneged on its deal with the tribes. The decision said only the U.S. Justice Department, not individual voters, could bring suits to enforce the VRA. Of 450 VRA Section 2 cases since 1982, only 18 were brought by DOJ. May 14th, a 3-judge appeals panel affirmed that decision, but still only for the 8th Circuit. After a July 15th stay, the nations asked the High Court on September 4th to take the case. Spirit Lake Nation Chair Lana Jackson Street said, "It is shameful that when we succeeded in court and got a fair map in place, the state turned its attack toward the Voting Rights Act and a person's right to vote free from discrimination. We need the Supreme Court to protect our fundamental right to vote and be heard."
Seconds.
Gracias.
So you're a tough guy, like it really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type.
42 now, past the hour of 3 o'clock.
I'm the bad guy.
Zauber's playing Weird Al. You think Weird Al's listening? Apparently he's in town. We found out that Weird Al Yankovic is in town, and we could have had Dan Schaefer in hour 2, followed by Weird Al Yankovic, followed by Mike Clemens.
Now that would have been a show.
That would have been a show. I mean, it's fine the way it is. I'm just saying you could have had Al or Weird Al Yankovic in between Schaefer and Clemens.
Especially if he brought in his accordion.
Right? I'm all for the accordion. What's worse, a busy weekend or a lazy weekend? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Also, don't forget, you can text us the word of the day, the hour, the 2 hours. You have till 4 o'clock to text us the word game. G-A-M-E. Game is the word until 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, the computer will randomly select somebody who texted in the correct word of game, and that person will have 4 tickets sent to them electronically for the Milwaukee Brewers against the LA Angels for this Thursday, September 18th at 6:40. Text the word game, G-A-M-E, right now on the Civic Media app. On WMDX in Sun Prairie, Chris, listening out in beautiful Sun Prairie, says, I would say busy weekends are better as long as it's a fun weekend and not work. but a lazy weekend is definitely needed every once in a while. Sue in beautiful Franklin, listening on WAUK, says, I'm retired, so every day is the weekend. We're going to go see The Sound of Music, showing for a few days for the 60th anniversary, have a wedding tomorrow, and walking in the Walk to End Alzheimer's Milwaukee Walk on Sunday. So I guess it's a busy weekend. Sue, that sounds like a great weekend. I think that's fantastic. Have a little fun, help raise money for a good cause. Great job, Sue. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. What's worse, a busy weekend or a lazy weekend? Aaron Zommers?
This is a tough one because naturally I'm inclined to agree with Megan in Sun Prairie, who was one of the first people to text in saying, busy weekends are worse because I'm a bit of a hermit and just want to stay inside. That's me, but also after a lazy weekend, a lot of the time I feel like I've accomplished nothing and I feel worse about myself. So I will say I am more intimidated by a busy weekend, but after the fact, I think a lazy weekend is worse.
That's very interesting. I would say the opposite. I would say a busy weekend is worse because I might feel more pressure. Not to say that busy weekends can't be fun. They can. But I think that in terms of just what's worse, a busy weekend because I got to keep a schedule and, I got things going. Where a lazy weekend is like, wow, I could just chill out. And I'm also being persuaded by the photo on the card today that shows a beautiful beach, and I do love me some beach time. Matt in Middleton on WMDX says, busy weekends are the worst as I need my couch and cocktail time. Monday will be grumpy Monday. Couch and cocktails. I like that, by the way.
If I'm honest with myself, busy weekends are worse. I just said the other way because I'm trying to be aspirational and talk myself into actually doing things on the weekend.
It's good to know Zommers is always forthright with us. All right, I want to get this in.
Hey, I was lying to myself.
I want to get this in. According to Channel 3000, WISC TV in Madison, President Donald Trump announced yesterday that he has approved $29.8 million in disaster relief funds for the state of Wisconsin. Events to help flooding victims connect with resources are continuing throughout the southeast part of the state after a month ago with all the flooding. Sonia Yankee was at the Waukesha County event yesterday looking to get extra help in her recovery process. She says, quote, my husband had to tap into his retirement. He had to take money out of the money that we've spent years building up, unquote. Yankee's thankful for the potential funds, but has questions about where it will go. She says, quote, I've been looking around at what everybody lost, and that amount of money will dwindle really quickly. I don't know how it's going to be enough to take care of everything that's been lost, unquote. Waukesha County Emergency Management Coordinator Alex Freeman talked about the next steps. Freeman said, quote, we're waiting to find out more. We know that there is this step in the right direction right now. We're very thankful that the president has taken a look at our recovery needs here in Waukesha County and across the state of Wisconsin, unquote. I know that it was a bipartisan effort. Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, along with Republican U.S. Senator Ron Johnson and the rest of the congressional delegation, lobbied Trump for this, as did Democratic Governor Tony Evers. So at least one small, let's focus on something positive today, which is, in this case, a bipartisan effort has led to at least nearly $30 million in disaster relief funds for the people of Southeast Wisconsin. Hope that covers it. If it doesn't, hopefully there's a way that Congress could approve more monies. But we shall see. We'll keep an eye on that, as Civic Media News Department will as well. Our very own Stuart J. Waddles down there in Waukesha and Racine as well. All right, we've gotten all the comments on what's worse. We get Matt's? Yeah, we got Matt's. He's couch and cocktails. Couch and cocktails. I really like that. Maybe that should be a new segment on the show. Couch.
We can bring back Mimosa Friday.
We can bring Mimosa Friday and combine it with our JD Vance couch out in the lobby.
Bring it back in the studio.
It used to be in the studio, but now it's out in the couch. Out the couch.
The smell was too much to bear.
Couch and cocktails. I like that a lot. All right, that's it for What's Worse. We'll be back with new editions of What's Worse next week. Don't forget, you can still get your entry in for those free Brewer tickets for this coming Thursday, September 18th, against the LA Angels at 6:40. Go to the Civic Media app and text the word GAME, GAME, GAME. Text the word GAME right now on the Civic Media app from the correct entries. The computer will randomly draw someone at 4 o'clock, and you'll be on your way to AmFam Field on Thursday. The Brewers get underway again tonight against the Cardinals on many of our stations, starting at 6:35 with the pregame show. How about them Packers last night? We'll talk Packers, Badgers, and Brewers on the other side with the one, the only Mike Clemens. Stay tuned. Farm News is next right now with Pam Yankee on the Civic Media Radio Network.
7 WMDX.
There you go.
Madison,
There you
living
go.
side by side with Sandhill Cranes.
Join the family. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
Mike Clemens.
Hello.
Mike Clemens, the one, the only, up late last night, still getting it done today. How are you?
Hi, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. Todd, you see the kind of rundown of the cuts I sent along?
I do. Yep. Got them right here.
Fantastic, sir. Okay.
Do you kind of want to set them up as we go? Do you want me to? How do you want to do it?
You know, you sort of bring up the topic, like you see, you know, if it's Micah Parsons, what did you think of the defense? And then I'll introduce the cut.
Okay.
And
Got
when
it.
the cut's over, then you react to the cut. Okay.
Got it. Yep. All right. So we're going to start. We got the bumper on LaFleur. So we'll start with that. And then we got Xavier McKinney next. Then we got Micah Parsons. We got JD, we got Jaden Daniels, we got Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, and Tucker Kraft.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Look forward to it.
Okay, boys.
Thank you.
And using a rope for bringing up your weapon.
Jeff Pritzel, the DNR Deer Program Specialist, along with us. He says that prioritizing safety will help ensure everyone has an enjoyable hunt. Stick around. I'll have a look at your closing markets right after this.
You spoke, and Quas listened. The result is a forage harvester that can devour crops faster than you ever thought possible. Introducing the new Kloss Jaguar 1000 series, built in collaboration with customers like you. You said you wanted higher throughput. We achieved 20% higher throughput compared to the Jaguar 990 under similar conditions. You wanted better chop quality and efficiency. We achieved our best chop quality ever and our best fuel efficiency ever. It's performance inspired by the best. Ask your dealer about the Kloss Jaguar 1000 series.
At the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, they know your business has always been something special. Now you can let customers know it too, in an instant, with the red and yellow Something Special from Wisconsin sticker. Joining the program gives you access to supplier and distribution information, marketing support, and a community of like-minded Wisconsin businesses. Best of all, you'll let people know that your work is done with care, quality, and love. You've always been something special. Visit somethingspecialfromwisconsin.com to make it official.
I'm Kylie Allen for the Midwest Farm Report, taking a look at your closing markets this Friday. On the close from Chicago, December corn closed up 10 1/4 at 4.30, and November soybeans closed up 12 3/4 at 10.46 1/4. December wheat also closed in the green today, up 2 at 5.23 1/2. Taking a look at dairy, October Class 3 milk is currently trading even at 16.32, and November Class 3 milk is trading down 10 cents at 16.21. 40-pound block cheese closed down 5 1/4 today at 1.62, and AA butter closed down 3 3/4 at 1.92 3/4. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Kylie Allen.
Download the Civic Media app in the Google Play or Apple App Store and take us everywhere. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. Increasing sunshine for today, summery with a high of 83. For tonight, an isolated shower or storm possible after midnight, a low of 64. A lingering shower or storm possible in the morning on Saturday, otherwise partly sunny with highs in the lower 80s. It's 80 degrees at our studios.
Hey there, Wisconsin.
The silence is weird, but preferable.
Oh, I like what's going on. No, I got it.
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on your local Civic Media radio station.
where working people come to talk. It's The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network. Join me for an honest approach to the issues American working families care about. No talking points, no focus groups. Get ready for a heavy dose of democracy.
Hey, CJ, if you can hear me, by the way, I just want rather than sitting there on hold, we're not going back to the political issues of earlier, because now we got sports and that's the rest of the show. So, but thank you.
Relentless. Just physical, aggressive, attacking. The play style is exactly what we want from these guys. And it always starts with the energy and effort. And that's going to get you through and can overcome for some of the mistakes. So I think our front is extremely disruptive, getting after the quarterback.
That is the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur, after last night. Boy, the Pack deserves to be having a weekend off. Some of the Brewers were up at Lambeau last night. Maybe some of the Packers will go down to AmFam tonight. I'm not sure, but the Packers got a big win over the Washington Commanders, 27-18 in the whiteout at Lambeau on Thursday Night Football on Prime, and heard on several of our Civic Media stations on the Green Bay Packers Radio Network. And here to go over that and more, nobody knows it better, nobody covers it better than our own sports reporter, Mike Clemens, who joins us via phone on the road. Mike, what a game at Lambeau last night.
Yeah, at Lambeau here, by the way, where today there's like tours going by every 20 minutes. I mean, it's like it's almost a game day. The buzz is incredible. Hey, Todd, that's a thought. I didn't think of that, because last night, like pregame down the sidelines, I saw Sal Frelick, Bryce Terang from the Brewers, and Caleb Durbin was over there. That maybe some Brewers would be down there, and they do this thing too, like, when Jordan Love was down there and he threw out the first pitch, and about the 6th or 7th inning, the scoreboard crew puts up a thing like top 5 celebrity lookalikes. So they go through their crowd and they put a picture of a celebrity up, like a guy that might have bad blonde comb over hair, and put him next to Donald Trump or something.
Right.
So they get to the end and it's got a picture of Jordan Love in his jersey, and then they got Jordan Love sitting there actually in the seats, And I told him when that game was over, I was going down the elevator, and those two women were talking about that, and they said, "Boy, that guy for Jordan Love, that's a dead ringer, though." I'm like, no, ma'am. Perhaps you missed the first pitch. That was him. He was here today. See, that's a joke.
That's fantastic. I mean, everybody's in a great mood. I heard one of your sports reports earlier, Mike. Keep me honest, but the first time the Packers have started off 2-0 in what, 4 or 5 years?
It's not only that. It's in terms of holding the opponents to a certain amount of yardage and everything. That goes back to like the 90s.
Wow.
And when that guy Reggie White was here.
Right. Well,
the thing, when you watched the game last night, I mean, because one of the guys from the networks asked me, "Have you ever seen a Packers defense this fast?" And I thought, Reggie, maybe a couple other guys, Ezra Johnson way back in the day. I said, but I haven't seen 5 guys on the defense this fast. And so when you're watching the all-22, if you will, the camera work from behind, what you see is 4 guys lined up, maybe 5, and all it takes is one to break through, but the others close in so well and, form that pocket, that net, so that Jaden Daniels, who's young, he's NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year last year, their quarterback for the Commanders, he's got nowhere to go, and he's hurried. They hit him 12 times. They sacked him 4 times.
Yeah.
He was under pressure all night long. And so Xavier McKinney, the safety, he said, I didn't have anything to do tonight. He said between Keyshawn Nixon deflecting passes, 4 or 5 of them, and then the pressure they were getting on their quarterback, I just stood back here making sure, nobody took off for a deep ball. So I asked him, how did the defense hold Jaden Daniels to just 3 points through 3 quarters of that game last night?
The pass rush was relentless. I think we did a great job, not only just rushing, but containing him as well and swarming to the ball. I think, those things, all together helped us because even when sometimes he did get out of the pocket, everybody swarmed. So, it really didn't mean much. He didn't really get nowhere.
That was Xavier McKinney last night. Mike Clemens had an opportunity to catch up with him afterwards. And I think that was I'm glad you brought this up, Mike, because so much, and rightfully so, we talk about Jordan Love, but boy, to your point, I mean, the Commanders got to the NFC Finals last year. Jaden Daniels was a big part of that. The defense, boy, that just gave, I think, a lot of us Packer fans, don't cover it like you do, a lot of hope for this season.
No, and the team you beat last week, the Lions, they averaged 33 points a game last year, number one scoring offense in the league, and you held them through 3-4 quarters last week. And it helps that you're doing this game at Lambeau Field, but Dan Campbell had beat the Packers 3-0 at Lambeau Field.
We're talking with Mike Clemens, a great sports reporter, live from Lambeau Field. The big Packers win last night over the Washington Commanders, 27-18. Micah Parsons, ever since he got to Lambeau last night on the post-game show, they were carrying on Prime, Amazon Prime. The crowd that was still left was chanting, "Thank you, Jerry," as Micah Parsons sat there on the set.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry Jones. Right. I saw that chanting. It was pretty funny. And, the thing about Parsons, and, we'll go week by week on this, but so far, Todd, I mean, this guy says everything, and he does everything the right way. This awareness he's got about the room, the players. He walks around the stadium last night, 3 hours before the kickoff, just to take in the environment. I mean, he's on all different kinds of levels in terms of his awareness and leadership and the way he pushes himself. And it definitely has put the pressure on his teammates, his new teammates. So Kenny Clark was a favorite here. He's a great football player, 30 years old. He has to go to Dallas in the trade along with 2 first-round picks. And Micah Parsons comes up from the Dallas Cowboys up to Green Bay 2 weeks ago yesterday. And it's just like you flipped a switch in terms of the energy of that locker room. So we asked Micah in a very crowded, huddle of media around him last night, how do you explain how the team loses KC, Kenny Clark, and last night they're playing with their hair on fire with guys like Devontae Wyatt, one of their young defensive linemen, who's back there all over the quarterback and pressuring him.
That's a great part because, I think a lot of people, obviously KC was a great player, but the organization really trusted those guys that they'll be able to step up. And then when I got here and I'm watching, I'm like, bro, I can be great too. I just think, when they see someone else challenging them and being great, it just makes everyone better. It makes everyone rise to the occasion. And they understand, I think the first week I got here, I was like, this is a standard level of play. And I bought into what they did, and I probably brought some flavor too. But when everyone's just playing good, it's just beautiful to see. I think everyone had sacks today. Everyone was getting after the quarterback. We was pushing the pocket. We probably out there when there's chips, we like, D-Watts like, you go. I'm like, yo, you go, I go power. So, we're just all feeding off each other. And that's what makes it beautiful to see, and that makes it fun, and that's why we was able to be effective.
Micah Parsons' new acquisition of the Packers last night. Mike Clemens talking to him. Mike, we've heard, coming in here, we thought, we heard all this stuff about, he's really not a great teammate. I haven't seen that. You're there every day. Seems like the guy is a pretty good team player in Green Bay so far.
Yeah, and it's not like he's necessarily having everybody over for dinner. It's just the focus and what he says. Even his opening press conference, the Packers set a bunch of seats aside in the front row where they anticipated he might want to bring the whole family. They stayed home.
Wow.
It's just me. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here for you guys. I'll answer. He talked for 35 minutes, and he wasn't babbling on. He took about 30 different questions. He took any questions, and he answers everything in a very reasonable, factual way. That's just a matter of fact. So then, I always try and cover both locker rooms for us, Todd. So, I ran over to the Commanders, to their press conferences, and there's Jaden Daniels. I mean, you talk about a deer in headlights. And we said, last week you beat the Giants 21-6. You controlled that game. How did you fall so far against the Packers defense tonight in week 2?
I just did a good job of their scheme. Whatever their defense coordinator had them do, they executed very well. Last week we were able to pull it off. This week we didn't, so we got to execute better.
That is Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels talking to our very own Mike Clemens last night. And then you went to the other locker room, the winning quarterback, our very own Jordan Love. I know you got to ask him some questions too, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love, quarterback rating of 113 last night. It's through 2 touchdown passes, hit a 57-yarder to Tucker Kraft, but he loses Jaden Reed, his number 1 receiver, number 11, who is about to catch a touchdown pass for 39 yards, collapses into the end zone area and comes up with a sore shoulder. It's a broken collarbone.
Yeah.
So Jaden Reed's going to be out till, I'd say December. Somebody put out, 6 to 8 weeks. Like, come on, man. How many? We went through that twice with Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Charles Woodson, had one, in the Super Bowl. That's going to take time. It'll take 8 weeks and then a couple weeks to get him back in shape. You got Christian Watson coming back from the ACL. They just paid him $13.5 million for a contract extension. And then on the offensive line, Zach Tom, your starting right tackle, who you just paid a lot, and Aaron Banks from left guard, inactive last night because of injuries. So they put in Jordan Morgan, their first-round pick from last year, at left guard. LaFleur said, I consider him a starter. And then they went in with the rookie. Anthony Belton played right tackle most of the night, as opposed to that guy that they just traded with the Eagles with, Darian Kennard, who was like late to a special teams play. Rich Bisaccia not happy about that.
Right.
So we asked Jordan Love, so how do you feel about your protection when Zach Tom and Aaron Banks are inactive on your offensive line?
No matter who's out there, I'm going to have confidence in those guys. And I tell those guys all the time, But I think those AB and Kennard, I think they did a great job stepping up right there. You miss Zach and Banks right there, which is, it's tough. So, I think both those guys did a great job. But we're going to have confidence in those guys. And we're going to still, stick to our game plan because we got to still go out there and be aggressive.
Packers quarterback Jordan Love last night talking to our own Mike Clemens, who we have on the phone right now. Offense just seemed to be clicking on all cylinders pretty much last night, Mike.
Yeah, and they got the running game going later in the game. I mean, Josh Jacobs, number 8, great running back, ended up the night with 84 yards on 23 carries. Not bad. He had the 1 touchdown. I love the one play where they were like deep in the red zone, about the 7-yard line, and clearly they must have called 2 plays in the huddle because they hand off to Josh Jacobs. He runs a little left. He gets about 4 yards, and then instead of huddling up, they go no huddle. They run up to the line. They run a second play. And, the Commanders aren't even ready, and he runs in for a touchdown. That's how he scored his touchdown. Mm-hmm. So we asked Josh Jacobs after the game, should the Packers' game plan on offense be, safe and smart, or should you be aggressive and go for it on 4th down?
I mean, I'm all for smart play calling. Like, if I was to be playing the game, I'm going to play aggressive. And, I'm going to do what Tennessee's been working. And I feel like, we got to break tendencies in certain times too. Like, we got tendencies to run the ball on fourth and short. So to be able to throw the ball and, complete them passes and things, I think it's huge for our offense. I think it'll open up a lot of things later on this season.
Josh Jacobs talking to our very own Mike Clemens last night, who joins us via phone from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where the Packers got a big win last night over the Commanders, 27-18. Mike, as a Packer fan, seems like we get excited when not just our quarterback is doing well, but the running game, and Tucker Kraft was on fire last night.
Yeah, not only with the runs, but also with he ended up being your leading receiver with Jaden Reed now with a broken collarbone. 6 receptions, the one for 57 yards. And I love this play that they ran a couple of times, Todd, where they would fake a handoff to Josh Jacobs, number 8, off to the left. And then Jordan Love would roll to his right and throw a short pass to maybe Dontavian Wicks, or to Tucker Kraft, and it worked. And I asked Tucker, I said, that misdirection runs to Josh Jacobs, and then turn, you do a short little pass to the opposite side. How does that work?
Hey, Mike, can you stick with us for 2 minutes or not?
Sure.
We're up against the clock. We'll have that cut. We'll hear from Tucker Kraft and wrap it up with Mike Clemens on the other side. You're listening to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Weather and sports on air and streaming on
Sorry,
the
Mike, we were
Civic
just up
Media
against
app.
a hard break there, so
This is the
didn't mean to hold
Civic
you
Media
over.
Radio Network.
When you're having computer problems,
I can't hear
you
Mike,
need a
by the way.
company you trust to get things working again.
Now you should be able to.
All right.
No problem.
Yeah,
Stand by,
sorry.
ready to go.
All right.
For business and residential customers for decades, our computer care plans take away the hassle of being without your computer or needing to bring it in for repair. Starting at only $10 a month, our local and friendly techs provide remote help and can fix most problems in just minutes. Call 608-231-8000 and sign up today. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
Craft cocktails, live events, a playground for the kids, and yes, self-serve instant ramen bar and drag bingo. It's all at Downdren's Distilling in Cottage Grove. It's not your average tasting room. Pet-friendly, family-friendly, flavor-packed. Visit downdrens.com or stop by today.
This is Chad Spade for Chad's Design Build. We're proud to employ some of the best carpenters and remodeling professionals in our industry. Are you honest and hardworking? Do you love to improve people's lives by improving their homes? Chad's Design Build offers excellent compensation and benefits focused on outstanding customer service, professional design, construction management, and craftsmanship, all in a nurturing, positive workplace. Whether you're thinking about remodeling your home or considering joining our team, go to chadsdesignbuild.com to learn more.
Buying a home is a lot like eating pistachios. Some deals pop right open, some take a little effort, and some make you want to grab a hammer. That's why you need Aaron Weber Group. We do the heavy lifting so you don't break a nail or your sanity trying to crack into the housing market. We've got the perfect place where you can eat pistachios in every room. So don't shell out your life savings on a bad deal. Call Aaron Weber Group, powered by Compass, today. We'll get you into a home that's nothing but perfect.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now is the moment we've been waiting for. With new treatments emerging in the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia, now is the time for hope and for action. Held in over 600 communities nationwide, the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest fundraiser for care, support, and research to fight the disease. So get out, get moving, and join WMDX at the Walk to End Alzheimer's on Sunday,
30
October
seconds.
5th.
Thank you. Before the hour of 4 o'clock, at the top of the hour, CBS or ABC News, whichever one of our great stations you're listening to, a check of weather. Mike Clemens with a sports update, another edition of the Maggie Dawn Show, followed by our friend Pete Schwaba and Nightlight from 6 until 8 tonight. Don't forget, you can still have time to enter our free Ticket Friday Brewer giveaway for the game this Thursday, September 18th against the Los Angeles Angels. Text the word GAME, G-A-M-E, GAME, as in it was a great Packers game last night, to the Civic Media app. We'll draw that at the end or at the top of the hour. Right now, joining us via phone from Lambeau Field, where that great game was last night, our very own sports reporter, Mike Clemens. Nobody does it better. And Mike, before the break there, talking about the great performance of Tucker Kraft last night.
Yeah, one of the things that Matt LaFleur wants to get going in his offense is using the tight ends more. And Luke Musgrave is now back after a couple of years of injuries. He had 2 catches. That's number 88. And then big number 85, with Tucker Kraft. Not only did they trust him now to maybe even run a jet sweep or run games, but now as a receiver, as a target, besides just blocking linebackers downfield. And he ended up with 6 catches for 124 yards. And the touchdown last night, the one play was 57 yards. They had Luke Musgrave, both tight ends, kind of lined up, and they realized that they had 2 tight ends on 1 safety. And the safety had to make his decision on who you're going to cover. That's why Kraft was wide open. But I was saying before the break, some of these plays I thought were great, particularly when they got in the red zone, was let's fake a handoff to the left to the running back, Josh Jacobs, number 8, and then have Jordan roll out to the opposite side in a short little pass. And it seemed to be tricking, Von Miller, who's been in, the Commanders, that's an old team. Von Miller, 15 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Bobby Wagner, the former, Seahawk and everything. And I asked Tucker, how did those misdirection plays for Josh Jacobs and then passing one of you guys or Dontavians worked last night against the Washington defense?
Yeah, I mean, teams come in here and they have such an emphasis on stopping number 8. They think that the key to beating the Green Bay Packers is by stopping Josh, and that's a credit to him and all the work he's put in. He is such influential back in the NFL. So teams keying him, it just opens up opportunities for everybody else. As a receiver, I hope teams keep coming in with that mindset and that game plan. But those plays will come for Josh. He's on the cusp of another great season.
Tucker Kraft last night on the Green Bay win over the Washington Commanders, 27-18. Mike Clemens, Packers kind of get a mini break here. Those Thursday night games give you some more time before they have to play again. So this weekend, no Packer game over the weekend, but many of our sports fans' attention will turn to Alabama. As Keith Jackson used to say, Alabama. And it's going to be Wisconsin. I think Alabama's a 20-point favorite in the desert this weekend.
21 points.
21. All right.
Whoa, no.
All right. I don't know.
The Badgers go down there tomorrow, or they left today, right?
Yeah.
The game's at 11 a.m., okay? And Alabama came up here at Camp Randall and beat them 42-10. Wisconsin has never played a game in Alabama ever before, so that'll be a first.
Wow.
I dug this up though. Have the Badgers ever beat Alabama? They did. November 1928. The score was 15-0 at a frigid Camp Randall.
I heard
28.
I tried it at the top of the show. I said we got to ask Clemens to keep me honest because I heard that on your sports report this morning. I'm like, honest to God, I didn't even know they were playing football at Wisconsin in 1928. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we got that. We got Brewers opening a series tonight against the Cardinals, and even though they just got swept in Texas by the Rangers, they got 89 wins. If one more, they can get to 90 wins. And they're still 5.5 ahead of the Cubs. And other than that, man, I'm still trying to come down from last night because there's Doug Williams. Remember Super Bowl 22,
yes.
right?
Yeah, right.
And beating John Elway and the Broncos with 4 touchdown passes and MVP. He was here with the Washington team contingent. And then before the game, my office is like right around the corner from the hallway that goes to the visitors' locker room.
Yeah.
And then there's an elevator goes down to Packers or up to the press box. And it's about an hour before the kick, and I'm going out, and I turn around. Here comes Mike McCarthy walking out of the visitors' hallway. And I go, hey! And so I heard him yell out my voice, like that. So I got to visit with him, and he had a meeting with Jerry Jones in June, and then he moved all his stuff from Dallas back to his house here in Green Bay. Said he spent the summer on his boat in Door County. Their youngest is in 8th grade, so he's going to all of her sporting events and stuff like that. But after running out of I said that was so great last week when you ran out of the tunnel, with the Super Bowl 45 team on alumni weekend. That was great. And somebody invited him just to join him in the suite. So he was up here last night to watch the football game. So, it's good to see him and good to see. I'll tell you what, maybe that happens now that it's past the Mark Murphy era.
Right.
It's sort of a new era up here.
Yeah.
He feels more welcome back in the house. So you don't usually see former coaches like that around here.
I think it's really cool. A minute left, Mike. Al Michaels was talking about this. He did I believe, a Monday night game on 9/11 in 2001. It was at 9/11 last night again. Your remembrances of when world events like that collide with sports. I mean, these are times when all of us, whether we're sports fans or whatever, we remember this stuff.
The thing about it is that whether it's your favorite church, whether it's your favorite sports team, we actually look for ways to feel united. And when you can do that with country and sport, like that, that's what makes that moment. At least we can, for 1 minute, we can all be in the same room and put the politics aside and just, find a common thing like that. I find that to be even true with the Packer fans. They're not so much here for the games. they're here for their fellow fans.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, 100%.
And that's that's part of the thing that we're trying to serve here when we cover these teams.
Well, nobody does it better, Mike Clemens. As our friend Trigby Olson says, when you go to Lambeau, nobody's wearing a red or blue hat. They're wearing green and gold, and that's what unites us and makes Wisconsin great. Nobody better.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time, Mike Clemens. Be safe covering the stuff this weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Todd.
Our pleasure. Mike Clemens, our great sports reporter here on a weekend. That'll wrap it up. Many thanks to Dan Schaefer for being here, along with Aaron Zommer as a great producer, and all of you for listening. Maggie Dawn is next. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, keep banging your drum. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike. If you're still on the line, appreciate you. Thank you so very much.